Alrighty, we have Jameshia here today, hopping on the Zoom all the way from, I believe, Hawaii. She's in the middle of a move, and she made a wonderful post in the Facebook Mastermind community the other day. And I wanted to start out by asking you, do you want me to read it? Do you remember how it went? I could read it and we could talk about it.
Oh, yeah, it's up to you if you wanna read it, that's fine, and I can,
All
go
right.
into detail.
Yeah, you've had some recent successes. So she made this really cool post. It was a wire deposit. I'm going to keep that blurred. But the post was this: second first to market deal closed in 1 week. OOS, what's that?
Out of state.
Out of state beneficiary probate lead. Okay. Just closed my biggest wholesale deal to date. I've been following up with my seller every 4 to 6 weeks since February. That's awesome. She called me last Monday and stated she was ready to sell because she had a lot of family stuff come up. She signed last Tuesday. My partner had buyers checked it out, and they wanted to offer us 15 to 20K less than what we were asking. Partner reached out to his first choice again on Monday. He said he said if we could give a discount of 5K, he would close the next day. Well, here we are Wednesday, and the buyer definitely delivered. So acquired 45K wholesale fee. You're splitting it with your partner, and that's perfectly okay. Let's talk about it. Let's hear about it. How does it feel? Where are you right now? What's up?
Man, it feels so good. It was literally, couldn't have come at a better time considering, we're getting ready to move here shortly.
Yeah.
So a little bit about the deal. So I started First to Market Challenge in January.
Okay.
And then I did get, a deal from that in, March. But this lady, I actually talked to her in February, and she was supposed to fly out the next month so we can look at the house because she was in Texas.
Okay.
Um So her husband ended up getting sick and she couldn't fly out. And she was like, we just got to put it on the back burner. And I was like, totally understandable. Family comes first. Of course, your
Right.
husband's health, praying for him, da da da. Well, every 4 to 6 weeks, I would just call her and like, hey, it's
Mhm.
Jam. She's like, hey, Jam, how are
Yeah.
you? Yeah, still haven't decided anything. And I'm like, that's okay. I just want to make sure, you remember my name, that I'm in
Sure.
front of you. And she was like, okay, I promise. As soon as I hear something, I'll call you back.
Okay.
But I must warn you, we're going to have a lot of people come by the house and check it out because a lot of people want to buy it. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, that's fine. And I just follow up. Can I follow up with you in like a month or so? Sure. And I followed up again. So fast forward, I think it was like August, beginning of August. She was like, September, we're gonna make a decision. He's doing much better health wise. He's out of the hospital. He's in rehab. I'm like, okay, sounds good. Before I could call her, I think she ended up calling me like 2 days before I was going to call her. It's like, hey, Jam. All right, I'm flying in this week. I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Boop, boop, boop.
Oh.
Back it up. What? She was like, yeah, I'm flying in this week. I had a lot of stuff I need to do. Like, I'll keep you posted. Hopefully, we can get this done quickly. I'm like, we haven't even agreed on a number yet. Like, I was like, my number was like 160 to 180. And I was like, yeah, what numbers were you guys thinking? She was like, well, we were thinking, like, what number would you give us? I was like, we're not really big on negotiating. You have a number that you want. We can try to see if we can meet it. If we can't, no harm, no foul. She was
Yeah.
like, well, I want 180. Well, that was my number too. So we like, she was like, okay, we can do 180. Can you get the ball rolling like this week? Like, can we get it contract signed? She was like, send it. I was like, okay. And then I sent it. She talked it over with her husband because his date got moved up when he would get out of the rehab. So she was like, I need to get this done this week. So I'm like, okay. So we get it under contract. That she called me Monday, under contract Tuesday. She flies out like Thursday. She's like, my neighbor has the key. They'll give you the key, put a lockbox on it. The following week, like title came back super quick because she already had the trust beneficiary paperwork and stuff. She
Sure.
flew in with it and we closed in a week. And it was the craziest thing ever. And the crazy part about it, the buyer didn't care about the fee. The homeowner didn't care about the fee. She was
Okay.
just so happy she was able to fly in, get the deal closed. We even helped her move some furniture. We just made the process super easy for her. And she's like, yeah, you guys are going to be heading back to the East Coast. Like, drive through Texas, come and see us. I'm like, oh my gosh. So,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
we
she
talked
was
about
like
that. Yeah, yeah.
super happy that we were able to get that closed. So, yeah, crazy.
Now that money's in the bank.
In the bank. Isn't I just stared at it for like 2 days.
Oh. I
I
love that.
for 2 days I just stared because I was like, man, it's been a long time coming,
It
long time
works.
coming for sure.
So I have two questions. Well, one's an observation. It sounds like you had really good rapport. And just based off the two conversations I've had with you, I could see that that's probably being on the phone is probably something you're really comfortable with.
Yeah,
Is that
so I I'm a people person, so like
sure?
I'm a nurse first. Like that's what I do. I'm a nurse. I talk to
Okay.
people. I listen to their problems. I try to help the problem solve. And I also
Hmm.
have a psych degree, right?
Hmm.
So I like to see like both sides of a situation. So when I'm coming into a call, I'm coming in like, "Hey, what's going on?
Yeah.
Why are you even trying to sell it?" Cuz sometimes people want to pass stuff to their family like, "That's a great idea. You should do that." Like
Mm.
I'm not like forcing
Yeah.
people to sell. Like I genuinely like care about the plans, like what plans do you have and kind of what do you
Yeah.
want to see happen for sure.
Yeah. Sounds like you're a human first investor, kind of second almost.
Yeah,
That's
for
really
sure.
cool. The more interviews I do, the more times that sort of circumstance pops up, and it seems to be it's really refreshing to hear that that's more common than you'd think.
Hmm.
That there's good ethical people like you. So what would you say your biggest takeaways are that someone who maybe hasn't closed their first two deals or their first deal would maybe find some insight in?
Oh man, so I've been at this for like 2 years now, two
Okay.
years and I did 2 deals this year. And
Woo.
that's right, it's crazy. Thanks Tyler, thanks REIC. But yeah, like I did stuff so wrong starting out. Like I watched the YouTube videos. You got to get your cold callers. Your cold callers come with the company. You got to get these huge lists. So I spent like 40, at least 40K just wasted like my first 2 years because I was
Oh,
trying
really?
to like, yeah, like 40K. Yeah, I've been at this for like 2 years and now I'm starting to see the fruits of my labor. So what happened was I was buying these large lists of like 30,000, right? And you just call, 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 call. You might go through that list like 2 or 3 times. Stop doing that. You're not going to reach these people. These people are not going to answer. And by the time you, and then I started thinking, like, after I took the first to market challenge, like, how many times do I answer unknown numbers on the first try?
Right.
Never. Maybe about the fifth time I'll answer. I'm like, what do you want? What's going on? What do you need?
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh man, all that money I wasted because I wasn't like following up. So that's like
Yeah.
a really big one. Like, you do not need the large list. You do not need the VA starting out, honestly, but because I'm a nurse, I work long hours. I'm also in Hawaii, right? So I
Hmm.
was trying to like work in the East Coast because it's the time difference, like 6 hour time difference.
Oh,
That wasn't working. So the VAs weren't working because they can only do what you show them. They're not going to like be like AI and just do the
right.
things. No, you have to stay on top of them. You have to make sure they're doing what they're supposed to do. And that takes way more time than you just make picking the phone up, making the calls yourself. So I definitely
Especially in the
learned that.
beginning when you're just trying to get to the point where you're staying on top of it yourself. And then you're
Exactly.
worrying about other people. It's like, yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, like yeah. So when people are saying like you need to put the time in, you need to make the calls, you need to get
Yeah.
cursed out. You
Oh,
need that so that you get your repetitions in, so that you know what to teach your VAs, how to handle those objections. If you haven't done it, you can't really teach it, and your
hmm.
business is just gonna be out of whack. So that's like a really really big one. Another big one for me is like follow up. Hey, you want to sell your
Okay.
house? No. Okay, I'll never talk to you again.
Right.
Things change. Things change. Things do change. So like being able to like follow up with people. Another big thing that I'm so glad happened, and I was able, so I got a contract super quick when I first started my business. And what happened was the numbers were terrible. The area was terrible. But I had it on the contract and I was like, I got a contract. Oh my gosh, couldn't find a buyer.
Uh-oh.
The seller already just evicted somebody.
Uh-oh.
And they're like patience is running thin. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I gotta like cancel the contract, blah blah blah. Thank God she was understanding. But like that feeling of like, oh man, like I really let you down. I really let you down. Like that still haunts me. Like I never want to feel like that again. So now I'm not getting anything on the contract. I'm not sending a contract unless I know we are in agreement that we're gonna sell this house. You want to sell it? We want to buy it. If that's not like no, we're not doing walkthroughs. Like I used to like send people to the house just to walk through, paying money for people.
Yeah.
to go to the house and do walk through the test rabbit just for the seller to be like, no, I'm not selling. That's wasted money. Like, hey,
Mhm.
when we come to this house, it's just to confirm what you said and get the contract signed.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, that was like a big learning experience for me.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm seeing, the cliche, which to me, cliche is a good thing. Consistent, determined, right? That you kind of flip that switch, but then you develop the process. You realized you didn't need as much of the things that you thought you needed.
Not at all.
Um, but now your stories are really, I like it when I don't like it because you had to go through it. But
Right. If I
um,
can save anybody, yes,
you
please.
you triumphed, which is really good. You're not the first and you won't be the last person to be in what's basically could be considered the no man's land of real estate where you spent $40,000
40
with,
big
and
ones.
it's not like you weren't putting in effort either. You were putting
Right,
in
like
effort.
I was doing all the things. Like we were doing
You were
all the
trying.
things. I had the multiple VAs. We had our Podio and our
Yep.
Slack channel and all
Yep.
that
Yep.
stuff. Like we were ready. It just was
That $40,000 didn't get spent without effort. It's
for
just that you
sure.
weren't focusing on the right things.
Yep.
And there is a thousand ways to skin a cat, but what was the way you skinned the cat? What is your process now? How does these two deals all of a sudden just magically appear out of thin air?
I just like REI Sif, honestly.
Okay.
REI Sif. Tyler, thank you. Like, my gosh. Like Jessica, thank you. Like
He's a beast.
constantly when I first started, I'm like, hey, it's me again. I
He's a
need to
beast.
see the I need to see the filters one more time. I literally got I think I ended up getting REI Sif and then I had got the great deal where you got like all the courses and stuff and I
Oh, you
just
got the
sat there.
bonus.
Yeah, I just sat there. I got my t-shirt too. Like I got the bonus quick. So I literally just sat there and just like downloaded like how my mind works. I understand concepts. So I just sat there and just went over the videos, understand the concepts, and then first to market solidified it for me. I was like, wait a minute. Data's free. I don't have to pay for it.
Hmm.
REI Sif gives me data. I don't have to pay for it.
Hmm.
I was like, how did I miss that? It's like, wow, you guys are giving me data every month. You're teaching me how to pull data from my county, which was like game changer because now I can see real time, like, hey, this is what the county is seeing. This is what they're showing. Are they behind on their taxes? Are they delinquent? Like, yeah, it takes some work to get it, but no one else is doing it. They're not
Yep.
reaching the same people you are because everyone's just going to download the list. So that's been like super, super helpful. And just the cadence of how we follow up. I was like, wow, I call these people multiple times and then I moved them on to something else like mailers or door knock, things like that. And I'm like, wow, that makes sense. So I was like, you know what? And then like finding your market. Hawaii is a crazy market, super
Right.
expensive. Like you can sell anything on the MLS. It doesn't even like anything. And like
Yeah.
I was like, I need to switch markets. So when I first started out, you had to do everything yourself, right? I learned about JV. I was like,
Yeah.
wow, you mean to tell me there's so instead of me trying to find people I do not know in places I've never been,
Yeah.
I found a partner in Arizona and I was like, hey, you want to like work together? You're doing deals. I want to do deals. And he was like, I don't know anything about data.
Perfect.
Like, you're actually be helping me if we like join forces. I'm like, wow, because he already had the buyer's title company. He
Hmm.
lives in the area and he only focuses on that market. And I was like, I've never been there. You know more than I do. Sure, let's do it. And
Yeah.
like we joined forces right after the first to market challenge.
Okay.
First deal under contract March, closed in April.
Oh,
Like
so that's how you found your partner was through the first market challenge. That's pretty
no,
cool.
no, no. So I
Oh,
was taking the
okay.
first to market challenge, and
Yeah,
right after I
sure.
found my partner, because he's also like we're in sub two together. So
Perfect.
I found him in there. But as far as like data, he was like, I don't really,
Yeah.
I just follow up with people and that's it. I'm like, but you're not keeping track of like KPIs, number. Nope.
Uh-huh.
It's like I can help with that. So
Got you,
yeah,
dude.
like under contract March, closed in April, and I was like, wow, that was quick. Because of first to market, like it was, I wasn't paying for data anymore. Like
Yeah.
I don't have to pay
So
for it.
how was he on? So he knew he needed help with the data and stuff like that. So he was relatively on board quickly with
Oh,
this
super quick. Like
methodology.
once I told him like what I learned from Sith and Tyler, and he was like, "Oh my gosh, like I've
Perfect.
never heard of." He's like, "I've never even heard of this." I'm like, "What?
Yeah.
What?" Like game changer. So yeah, like first to market definitely has been crucial to our business right now.
So one of my questions would be, you did a long follow up, not necessarily an uncommon amount of time to follow up. That's a pretty common thing. Two questions about that. One, how did you build such strong rapport? Question one. And question two is, maybe it's just me, but whenever I start calling, I always get a little bit anxious.
Oh
So
yeah, for
I'm a
sure.
people person. I'm a people person. I like talking. I like doing stuff like this. I still get a little bit anxious. But even on the follow-ups, right? Are you still getting that little bit of
Yep.
anxiety? Okay.
Even when she called me about
Get a little
getting on the.
nervous.
I was still nervous. I was like, I sent it to her. Is she gonna sign it? Is
So
she reading
question
it?
two would
What's
be,
going
how do
on?
you manage that other than just doing it? And question one
So
is, how did you build such good rapport?
so question one, how did I build such a good rapport? So back to me being a nurse, like I listen. Hey, so and so. We're trying to like we saw this property, we're looking to buy, are you have any interest in selling it? Well, yeah, but not right now. We got a lot going on. Okay. If you don't mind me asking, like, what has you interested in selling? Oh, well, we're gonna sell it because we're not doing anything with it. Her mom had just died. Like, my mom had just died. I'm in Texas. Yada yada. I'm like, okay. Well, when are you looking to sell? If you did happen to sell, when were you? Oh, probably towards like the end of the year or something like that. Or we can
Sure.
do sooner, just because I think she had a family member who wanted to buy it, but then they didn't. So I was like, okay, no worries. Well, can I give you a call back? Like it wasn't pressure. I would never pressure her or anything, it's just listening. And that's another thing too. So when I first started, I was like, oh, you got to get the contract, sign, close, first
Mm,
call.
yeah.
No, talk to people. You don't have to do everything on the first call. Once I
Yeah.
realized it takes like sometimes 12 to 13 touches for a
Sure.
contract, I was like, oh man, I can relax when I'm on the phone.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you're interested? Okay, well, can we talk about it later? They're like, "Oh, you didn't want to give me an offer? No,
Talk about it later.
talk about it later. No worries, no pressure." They're like, "Oh, okay. Well, I'll call you. Okay, if you don't call me, I'll call you in 2 months." They say, "Okay, have a great day."
How's the weather?
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. How's the weather? What's going on? Like, what's going on in Texas? What's going on over here? How are you guys in the storm? Okay. Yeah, we're
Right.
just reaching out about this. I know you probably got a lot going on right now. But just wonder if you're interested. And it kind of lets their guard down because you're not like,
Yeah.
hey, I'm 123 Main Street. We would like to buy your house. Blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah.
It
How
sounds
are you
so
today?
not salesy. It
Mhm.
sounds authentic.
Like you're a local home buyer. Yeah. Like you shouldn't have this super professional voice. You should be like a regular person. Like, hey, you live here. You're down the street. You're a regular
Yeah.
person. Yeah. And it comes off as that when you're on the phone. So that's how I built like really good rapport.
So let's just do it this way.
Mhm.
You woke up, you had your morning coffee, you had your breakfast, you change clothes, whatever you do in the morning, you're hopping on the computer. First thing, what are you doing?
All right, first thing I'm doing, I'm gonna come here. First is check my notifications, which I have a lot of.
Okay. And what are you looking for in particular?
Looking for like properties that I was tagged in by my VA,
Okay.
or things like that. So that's like my first thing.
Okay.
Um,
So then
Second
you're clicking
thing,
one of them and then you're going in, or you're looking at other things.
yeah. So I just click one and then I'll go in and look at
Sure.
it. Yeah, it'll be something like, hey, I follow, like if it's somebody I was like, hey, I need you to get on top of this like ASAP. She'll put a message in and say, hey, I either called them twice, I couldn't get them, or I called and they told us to call them back in like 10 days, and then she'll go and make like the follow up already.
Cool.
So right now I have my VA working on like first to market stuff, like outreach, like
Okay.
because we're in the business of correct numbers, of course. So
Right.
that's been like a really big thing. She's like, oh, I need to bring in leads. I'm like, nope, we just need correct numbers. So we need to find the people we're not contacting. So we have like a SIF line board, which is what I've been working out of right
Okay.
now for
Cool.
like my new exhausted.
Yeah.
So going through like we have like 83 just from her
Mhm.
constantly calling every day.
Mhm.
And I just go through here first, seeing if it's a property that we're interested in, like it's in a great area. Is there any recent buying? Because like I was wasting a lot of time with that, just calling anybody,
Sure.
not areas people are buying in. So I go and check and see if it's a buying area, and then I go and look to see, like I use PropStream too. So
Yeah.
look and see if they have any other properties they may own, or if
Sure.
there's any like liens or anything like that going on. So I start with those, and then I'll try to do some deep diving on like relatives or true people search, trying to find like a correct number,
Okay.
and then we'll put it back in our little flow. um yep, and then we have like our first to market like leads area here, like
There
people
we
who
go.
said they
Cool.
wanted to sell at some point. We have a lot of them in here who just do not answer, or we have them
Yeah.
on like follow-ups and stuff. So definitely important to like keep those people in front of us, which is a really big one. So my partner, he works out of here. I work out of here too. Like, hey, what happened with this person? We haven't talked to them in a while.
Mhm.
Or just kind of like making it so that like once a week we're just going through calling these people to see if they'll answer. Um, yep. And we're using smartphone, of course.
Okay.
And yeah, and then like that's pretty much it right now that I'm
Sure.
doing. I'm not I feel like I should be doing more, but I feel like less is
Doing.
more.
I think you're
At this
fine.
point, like less is
So
definitely more.
who are you gathering from the first to market? What kind of data?
So I kind of like made kind of made a a little category. So I was
Right.
doing like foreclosures. That's where the first
Sure.
deal came from, but it wasn't like a typical foreclosure. It was like a due on sale, and looked like it was because like a name change.
Okay.
So I was like, this just looks weird. Let me reach out to see if they even know about this. Not necessarily to
Yeah.
buy it. I'm like, hey, if this was me, I would hope somebody would. And I called, and the lady's like, I just got the letter in the mail. I'm like, well, they sent this a month. They put this was recorded like a month ago. She was like, well, I just got it because like her husband, it was his mom's house, but he had just died and he was in charge of everything, and they left everything to her to be in charge of. And I ended up calling a lady in Kansas about a property in Arizona. And she was like, here's a number to the son. I'm pretty sure they don't know about that. Give them a call. I was like, thank you. I was like, thank you
I
very much,
appreciate.
mom.
I will.
I sure will. So I give a call to the son. He was like, yeah, that's my mom's house. Nobody's lived there for 6 months. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah. I don't want anything. I don't want any money from it. It's my mom's house. I just want to make sure she's taken care of. Call my sister-in-law. She's in charge now. Called
Oh,
sister-in-law. I'm like, she's like, hello. I was like, your brother-in-law gave me your number. Okay, what do you need? I'm like, hey, so I'm just calling about this property, blah blah blah. She was like, yes, we need help with it. We're just gonna. She was like, it's in a trust, and the mom was in she was in a memory care facility, and she was like, she doesn't know what the paper is. My husband, he's passed away. He didn't know what the paper was. I'm trying to prepare for his funeral and stuff. I can't deal with this. We're just gonna let the state take it. Just let them take it so that we can pay for her stay, her insurance to kick in and pay for the memory care. And I was like, can we buy it? She was like, sure, but that's going to be a hurdle. And she signed and gave us the keys. My partner went out there the next day, signed and gave us the keys to the house. We put it on our lockbox. And thank God for our title company. She was able to reach out to the other title company that did the adjustable loan that called it due because it was like a HUD thing. They like helped out with payments
yeah.
on it. So she was able to find that person. There was like, oh, it's the grandson. Grandson was like, sure, I'll help grandma out. And we got it done. Like crazy.
Perfect.
Yeah. But yeah, so that was just like a weird one. Like, and this is why I do my own data personally myself. It takes so much time.
Mhm.
But because I was doing it myself, I was able to find things like that. And then my other one is like I do death certs. So not necessarily probates. Like the process hasn't been started. I just
Mhm.
reach out to people who may or may not, want to sell this property that they may be inheriting, or they may not know what to do with it. It's like super early in the process. Um and yeah, and I just reach out to them like, you know what? We haven't even thought about it yet. Thank you for reaching out. We think
Perfect.
we're going to keep it. Anything change, we'll reach out to you. So that's kind of what I'm looking for.
So we talked about your process. We talked about your first couple deals, some of the insights behind that you picked up along the way.
For sure.
How has the lead flow been since this last post you made on the mastermind page? Have you been getting more leads? What's the future looking like for you?
So right now, I need to get more organized. Like
Yeah.
seriously, like that's like my biggest thing right now because I had made a post. I like make a comment the other time about like task filters, and Tyler was like, "Why are you doing this?" I'm like, "Oh."
Yeah.
I was like, "Let me go in here and fix this because like that makes so much more sense than what we're trying to do." So I need to clean that up so that we
Sure.
can start ramping up. But right now, like leads, they're like people who want to be followed up with later. So we're getting a lot more of that, which is like really, really good. We're getting a lot of correct numbers. Like I think right now we're at um like just the answer is like 55% answer rate, and we went down to like click to call from the dollar. So that was
Right.
another big thing. We're not using a dollar as much anymore at all. We're just doing click to call one by one, and that's being
Mhm.
like amazing. Adding text messaging, amazing. Can't wait for
Right.
mail to come back because
Yep.
that's definitely. I was like, I'm so sorry, Tyler. We didn't use it when you told us to use it. Now we're like, where is it?
Yeah,
Where's the mail?
exactly.
I'll
And now we got
never.
SIF coming out too.
Oh my gosh, I cannot
And
wait.
actually, something I was thinking about while you were talking earlier, how you said you don't do the send people on tours anymore, but you
Hmm.
use smartphone. So
Hmm.
they have a video feature coming out.
Hmm.
We have that webinar coming up in a next week. Um, Depending on when people are watching this, we're talking 10/10 of 24. Um, so you can hopefully just have your
Right.
or
Just
your
can you just
sellers
go in
give you
there and
tours.
just turn around a couple times so
And
so we can
yeah, for
see what it
real.
looks
And then
like? Yeah.
it's logged right away too, straight into both accounts. So that's
Yep.
going to be cool. Um, I think this was really beneficial for other people because this is a very relatable conversation.
For
You
sure.
were in the no man's land of
I was. I
forty
spent
thousand
so
dollars.
much money. Like I'm
Yeah.
telling you, my husband's like, so at some point we're gonna make money, right? I'm like, yes, yeah. You just gotta kind of be
Just
consistent,
just
and then
believe in
like,
me.
listen, just believe. And I kid you not, he was like, yeah, we're getting ready to move, and I'm like, yeah. And she literally called me at the perfect time. So, and that's another big thing too. Like, it's not always about us. Like, we're helping the sellers. Sellers definitely helping us. Like, we just need to like trust the process and do good by people. That's like a big
Mhm.
thing. Like,
Yes.
do good by people. And
Yep.
yeah.